On this edition of Sports Zone, we roll out the maroon carpet for Mississippi State's head volleyball coach, Jenny Hazelwood. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I know everyone's curious about who your impact players are going to be for the season, so why don't you tell us a few of the players?
You know, a lot of our recent matches has been a team effort, definitely. Seen a lot of players step up, but Caitlin Rance, senior outside hitter, she has been pretty dominant. And teams know she's going to get the ball. We're going to set her a lot, and she still has found a way to put up some huge numbers. She had 3 20-plus kill performances this past weekend. So that's not just good, that's outstanding.
Unreal.
And having players like that, you've got to feel like it gives you confidence. And as we were talking about before the set, since the Duquesne loss, the team's 4-0, wins against Army, Lamar, Baylor, UTEP. In the Army, Lamar, and Baylor game, you won by a combined 9-2. You've got to feel that gives you some confidence heading into SEC play this weekend.
Absolutely, and you know, we played a number of tough opponents in that stretch. It wasn't that you know, we knew we could be successful. It was one where we had to go out and perform if we were going to beat some really good teams. So the team is definitely feeling confidence from their success, and that's exactly what we needed heading into SEC play, especially opening against such a great team in Florida.
And I know this weekend's huge. Like you said, you're opening against Florida, who made it to the tournament last year, who won the SEC last year, and they're ranked 7th, as you said earlier. How does that make you guys feel? Are you preparing any certain way to get ready for such a big team?
Sure. You know, we do our usual scouting report type stuff, and Florida does some pretty specific things that are going to allow us to take advantage of some of their weaknesses, and fortunately for us, some of the things they struggle to defend, we're really good at. So we're excited going into this match, and the girls, you know, they truly believe that if we go out and execute at a high level, we can beat a great team.
You mentioned some of their weaknesses. What kind of challenges does a team like that pose, and how do you plan to kind of counteract that?
They're so physical, so athletic, and I mean, you know, you're not going to out-physical a team that's got a bunch of 6'4", 6'3". I mean, they're just really tall, very strong. So, you know, it's just going to be finding those weaknesses and knowing the rotations that they struggle in, and try to take advantage of doing things that they're not as good at defending. And then at the same time, some of the things that are their major strengths, just don't let them, you know, take us too much out of our game. And they're a great serving team, a lot of top spin servers the ball's coming pretty fast, and if we can minimize their runs and some of those rotations, it's going to give us a much better chance.
Not only are you opening against a big team such as Florida, but I know that you play 2 teams this weekend. You play South Carolina, who's currently ranked 1st in the East. How do you feel about that? What do you think your team has over South Carolina with their huge ranking right now? Well,
South Carolina is a completely different team. They're much more of a ball-controlled defensive team. They've definitely have hitters that can put a ball away. You don't win games without that, but their styles of play probably couldn't be more different. And South Carolina's got a new coach, so I'm not as familiar with, you know, I can expect this kind of game plan, or they make this kind of adjustments during a match. So that's going to be a little bit of a learning process. But, you know, I mean, they're definitely a team that they aren't going to be much bigger and more physical than us. If anything, they'll be about the same as us, or maybe not quite as physical. I'm not familiar with some of the freshmen that are playing right now. But, you know, I mean, I think that they're a team that we can definitely have a solid showing against, and hopefully come out, you know, with a victory in that one as well. And our girls, again, understand that training every day to do all the little things well are going to put us in the best opportunities to win. And I mean, even with 2 completely different teams, if they do that, we're going to be in good shape.
You mentioned 2 exciting matchups this weekend against Florida and South Carolina. Things such as volley grind and trying to get more students involved, more fans involved. It seems excitement is at an all-time high with the volleyball team. How does that impact your players?
It is more than you can even possibly explain to fans that come to a match. You know, our facility is very unique. It's really loud when we get a lot of people in there. And in fact, Scott Strickland, our AD, had said something to me about, you know, kind of getting that calm down a little bit, and I was like, absolutely not. So having that excitement, that support is going to play a major role in helping us win a lot of matches this year.
Well, Coach Hazelwood, thank you so much for coming by. We're very excited to see what the volleyball team's going to do this year and hopefully make it to the tournament.
Thank you.
When we come back from the break, we'll tell you if Texas A&M will make a good addition to the SEC and whether the national championship could be decided this weekend in college football.
Texas A&M has been accepted by the SEC as a 13th member of the conference. However, the SEC will not make a move officially until all the members of the Big 12 agree not to sue the conference. Do you think the Big 12 will have the Aggies go, or do you think it's a good move into the SEC?
I think now it's inevitable, especially with the news coming out today about Oklahoma and Oklahoma State possibly looking at joining the Pac-12, becoming the 13th and 14th members of that conference. Do I necessarily like this move? No, I'm a traditionalist. Do I think it is a good move? I do. And the reason why, SEC gets to expand its footprint into Texas. That's a very fertile recruiting ground. Also, you grab control of another market. And as we've seen, it's all about the Benjamins, how much money each conference can pull in. From that standpoint, I think it's a great move.
Yeah, you're right. And also, the problem is it all goes back to money. The tradition that A&M brings is great for us. I mean, they kiss their dates at midnight. They have the 12th man. They have the yell leaders who lead the student section. So that's all good. But it's really hard for me to imagine a year without A&M and Texas playing the day after Thanksgiving. But on the subject of Oklahoma, Oklahoma will travel to Tallahassee this Saturday for a big matchup against number 5 Florida State. Oklahoma dominated the Seminoles in this matchup last year. What are the chances the winner of this game wins the national championship?
I think that it's time for FSU to reemerge on the national stage. I think they've got a great shot to win this game. When you look at it, Landry Jones and the Oklahoma offense in general really aren't that good on the road. A little statistical research I did last night from on the road, Landry Jones touchdown to interception ratio 18-17. At home, 40-6. Completely different player at home. I think this FSU defense causes trouble. Florida State beats Oklahoma this weekend. Mark it down.
I'm definitely going to have to agree with you on that one. I mean, these numbers, Oklahoma being 1, Florida State being 5, yes, that's a matter, but not too big. Florida State doesn't want a recap of last year. They definitely have something to prove, and I think they will definitely go all the way this year. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Sports Zone. Please join us again next week when we find out if MSU bounced back from their loss to Auburn. Plus, we'll preview a big matchup in the SEC West as Arkansas travels to Alabama.
Please follow us on Twitter at MSU Sports Zone and feel free to leave any questions, comments, or topics that you would like us to discuss. Also, if you've missed an episode, please go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/MSU Sports Zone. Thank you for watching, and please join us again next week on the Sports Zone.